Hello, so today I'm going to do another Alana Fairchild Medicine Heart Oracle, number 3, Song of Sangoma. I'm just going to read the beginning part. In the different chapters, she goes through different cultures and tribes and different aspects that kind of encompass the idea of each card. But the beginning part is usually kind of like a summary of what the card means. So that's number 3. Maybe number 3 means something to you. We do have the 3 of Cups in here also, so maybe that means something. And I thought there was another 3. Maybe not. Oh yeah, I think there is in the Herbal Astrology Oracle. I think number 3 is in Rosemary, so maybe that means something to you. Anyway, so it starts like this. Within the spiritual power center of the throat chakra dwells your creative healing potency of voice, choice, vibration, and resonance. Honoring the significance of your words and choices is the path to activating your creativity and opening to the generous flow of higher guidance, inspiration, and healing energies that we want to manifest in your world. The Oracle acknowledges a potential within you that is worth the time and effort necessary to develop it. The choice is yours to set priorities, tune into your heart, and seek out your soul voice. There are healing songs that your soul yearns to sing. Only you can give yourself permission to set your voice free. Many will benefit if you do so. And what this speaks to me is, obviously, it's, not everybody can vocalize and not everybody can do the expressions in the same way. There's a lot of people who aren't able to vocalize or aren't able to hear, but I feel like the resonance of music is the biggest part of it. To me, I feel like if you're able to sing or you're able to do something in that manner, it is an expression of spirit. That is the expression of what we feel. Because, if you think about it, music and art, it's what makes you feel. If you look at something that somebody has painted, and you'll feel their emotion through it, right? If you look at something that a child has crafted, you get to see the expression of their creativity. If you listen to a song, you hear what that person is going through a lot of times in what they're saying. So I just think this is beautiful. And I feel like that is, again, I say this a lot, but it's just, when you experience things and you're kind of seeing the awe all over place, and this is a moment where I'm kind of like this, and I feel like we're all getting the chance to do that, then it's just beautiful. And I said beautiful 50 million times, but that's just because it is. But I feel like that is what it means to be spiritual. It means seeing the beauty in everything that is. So I won't dwell on that too long. There's some more cards here. And then we go to the tarot. So we have the Fool and the King of Wands. So the Fool is kind of like the beginning, but in the Rider-Waite, he has that little bag with him that carries all the lessons he brought with him. So it's not like we're a clean slate. There's things that we brought with us that make us a little bit wiser, that make us more able to step into our power, like the King of Wands, right? The King of Wands is a spiritual king too. This is somebody who is adaptable, but they're a doer, and they are, moving forward. And with the lion in there reminding me of Leo, this makes me feel like this is kind of maybe a creative thing. However it is for you to express. So I feel like this is something where we're talking about as a collective, or whether it be somebody, this is something that we're being encouraged to tap into and stand in your self power and express it, because like the card says, it will benefit others. And then when we go to our second row, that is the 7 of Cups, and we have the 3 of Cups. When you add that together, that's potential for the 10 of Cups, right? So the 7 of Cups sometimes can be confusion, whether it's emotions or too many things on our plate, too many options, right? And I feel like in a way, this could also be, we have many options. And then with the 3 of Cups, this is something about connections and collaborations and really connecting to other people. So this speaks to me that this could be a prime opportunity to really express ourselves and stand in our power, to kind of show these other people out there and people in the world that they can stand in their power too. That's the ability that we have by expressing ourselves and being our true authentic selves. And being water, this is emotion, it's spirit, it's feeling, right? And there's the car alarm going off, so there you go. There's some confirmation for you. But I feel like that's what this is. I feel like this is like there's a lot of opportunity, trying not to get lost in all the details, but understanding that there is opportunity out there. And then my third row is always the, this beeping is probably going to go on through this whole thing, but sorry about that. Life's. But the third row to me is what we have around us, what our resources are, whether that be us, an energy we possess, a talent we have, resources like physical, emotional, spiritual, whatever, or it be somebody else. And we have the Queen of Wands, which this speaks to me since we had the King of Wands. This is a part of ourselves or a part of somebody else maybe that has that more creative and more feminine side of the Wands royalty. This is somebody who has that charismatic part about themselves. Somebody who, whether it's you or somebody around you, they can kind of tap into that. And I feel like with the Wheel of Fortune really is telling me with this reading is this is a time where we're being able to tap into that because it's so needed right now. We've kind of gone through this, have to do, need to do, and strong masculine energy, which has its place. And again, I'm not saying that, this is male or female. These are just aspects of ourselves. It's considered the doing part, right? But we need to tap into that feeling and emotional and that charisma too. So I feel like that's what they're saying in this message. So my last two cards in the tarot part is the Two of Pentacles and the Six of Swords. So the Two of Pentacles, that can absolutely be needing to balance or being balanced. We're juggling two things. We're juggling, the strong structured part and also the beautiful flowy creative part, right? And I think that's kind of needed. There needs to be a little bit of structure. And if you know me, that is like my kryptonite is structure. So I have to balance that out a lot. I've got kids to feed, I have a mortgage, and I don't make a lot of money, but I get by. We both have decent jobs, so I can't complain. But at the same time, we got to pay bills, and if we want to do anything fun, we definitely have to save for it. So but at the same time, like, if you live your whole life just, working to work, then what is life, right? I want my kids to grow up and be able to express themselves. They're all artistic children, and I try to encourage that so much in them because I feel like that is where they will fulfill themselves if they can be completely who they are. Anyway, little side note, and the Six of Swords. So this is often talked about as being sailing on to calmer shores. She has all those swords, and so that can be like overthinking, or that can be, a struggle that she has gone through, and she's on this, raft or whatever. I don't know if it's a raft or a boat, but and she's over this water. This water is emotions, it's feelings, it's spirit, so that's carrying us to the other side. But those swords are also lessons and things that we've been through. So they're not necessarily unnecessary. They're not unneeded. They're things that kind of brought us to this point, right? We don't ever get to where we are without going through what we've already been through. So I feel like this is saying there's a balance in the things that we've been through and the things that we're going through, but there's also a balance in doing the work and enjoying it, right? At the same time, seeing like the things that we have to do, but also putting some more effort into that, into being creative and making our everyday more expressive so we can help bring that to other people, bring that out to other people. I think that's so important right now. And definitely with that wheel spinning right now, in favor of this more feminine aspect that I think all these people in this, in the collective, I feel like we're feeling. And see, there's confirmation with that car alarm. Anyway, so, and then we come to the Liminal Force Oracle with acclamation. So in the book, she talks about how she came up with this card was she went out to her kitchen and there was all these dishes. And the reason for that is, we will put one in the sink and say, okay, I'll get that later. And so eventually it accumulates. And then you have 2 hours of work to do because you kind of piled it on. That could be a good thing or that can be a bad thing. I feel like that's also saying, maybe in this reading, I think that's saying to put, a little goes a long way. So Maybe we do have like to work a 40-hour job. Maybe we have a lot of housework, or we have a lot of chaos at home. But at the same time, little moments of creativity, little moments to take that time out for yourself, or even doing things while you're doing that, blending the two things of the mundane and the spirituality, of the day-to-day and our personality. Oh, that rhymed. I should write a song. But the things that we do to enjoy ourselves, and the things that we do, to maintain our lifestyles and, to feed our kids. Maybe there's something that you can do to kind of blend the two. And even if it's something that doesn't really stimulate you happily, it's not something that makes you feel great, maybe just singing while you do it, or looking at it as like, okay, well, later I'm going to be able to do this, right? So I feel like that's kind of what that card's saying, is there are little things that you can do to kind of make it a little less stressful. Okay, and so then we have the Herbal Astrology Oracles. First one is number 3 with Rosemary, Ancient Memory. And upright, it means remembrance, ancient memory, multidimensional sight, recollection, commitment, and loyalty to a vision. So that's Sun and Mercury. So what this kind of feels like, yes, I feel like there is like an ancient memory that we all kind of have. And maybe with that, that very first card, with this, bringing that out, your connection to spirit through your creativity, but also with the wheel turning in this favor, turning into this more feminine aspect of our more divine part, right? I feel like that's kind of like it's coming back around. History repeats ourselves. I think we're in this to kind of like make it repeated in a positive way, right? And then also, if you look, this one has the Sun and Mercury. And so then when we go to the next card, which has the Moon and Mercury, it is Go to Kola. So this is a number 17, could be an 8, if 8 means something to you. That's higher consciousness. And that says the Hermit, solitude, soul searching, realization, greater knowing, and enlightenment. So this is kind of like, that inner part that we have to do. So it's kind of like the Hermit card. Now, I feel like that doesn't mean that you need to spend your whole life in a cave and ignore everybody. But I feel like that's also another part of this. We have the Sun and the Moon. We have the part of the doing. We have to be active and get out there, but we also have to do the part of that inner work, and that take that time with yourself away from the collective when you have those moments to connect to those inner parts of yourself. And again, having the Sun and the Moon in the same sign, and this, maybe there is somebody who has a lot of Mercury in their chart, maybe there's a Virgo, or maybe there is a Gemini. I happen to have a Gemini rising sign, but it's also my Venus. So I guess sometimes that's not always how it is, but I do have my Mercury is in Pisces, so I got my Moon in my Mercury. But anyway, so I feel like this is really saying, again, balance. And I always say balance, but balance in creativity in this reading, because the purpose of the creativity is not only to enrich your soul, but it's also to tap into those things that can bring that out in other people. So it's not only a personal gain, but it is a collective gain as well. And then we go over to the Crystal Angel Oracles, and we have Calcite with busy times and multitasking. Take charge of your schedule during this busy time and honestly assess your underlying reasons for being busy. Because sometimes we keep ourselves busy because, maybe we don't want to deal with something. But also I feel like this is telling you that, we need that king part. You know what I mean? We need that masculine part to kind of organize ourselves, because I am not organized. And sometimes the things that I want to do, I can't do because there's things that I didn't set up ahead, right? That accumulation. So maybe accumulating some more practical parts of myself can really help me get things done in a good way. But and then we also have Peridot. So with life lessons, you can break free from reoccurring negative patterns by praying to know the lesson and blessing they contain. And I think that's also true. I feel like this is, we've been through a couple of cycles, I'm sure. And this is really saying that this time right now is so important, I feel like, for us in self-mastery. I know I say that a lot, but I think because for decades, and I'm 45, so, I've only been alive for, 4.5 decades, but that's enough to know and experience things like, growing up in that whole narrative where, my parents and their parents were told that, you have to suffer in order to have anything in your life. That's what, if you didn't deny yourself who you are, then, you weren't a good enough person. Your merit was based on how hard you worked and how much you gave up. But in a large way, I always feel like the greatest thing you can do to worship or appreciate or to recognize that spirit, creator, God, universe, whatever that is in you, your higher self, is to master yourself and allow yourself to be who you really are. I hope this meant something for somebody today, and I am so sorry that my readings keep getting longer and longer. I don't know what that is, but I appreciate all of you, and thank you so much for listening to me and giving me the time. Have a beautiful day.